Will there be a black swan? Absolutely. And should you fear it? That's what I'm going to break down today. My name is Coach JV. What I work to do is I work to make very complex macro and microeconomic strategies and human behaviors and cycles very simple and practical for these days. One of the biggest questions we're getting right now is we launched our free book is well, we get the biggest question is Coach JV, what have you been doing since 2020? And I broke down the exact blueprint on how I got to financial freedom. And it's not what you think. There is no get rich quick. It's about rewiring the foundation to end up in a different situation. So, what I did was I created an absolutely free resource. My goal is to help over 1 million people within the next 12 months. Okay. So, people are struggling to find out how to get this. So, we've had 4,000 downloads within 48 hours. Thank you for those. But there's a lot of people emailing saying they can't find it. So, basically, in the description, if you're new to YouTube, click description of YouTube, you'll see the free download. Put in your email. There's no hoops you have to jump through. Within 15 minutes, you will get it in your email or check your junk box. If it doesn't work, just come back and do it again. Okay. If you're on social media, TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter, go to my bio. There's a link in my bio, a link tree, and you'll click on there and then you'll see this page right here. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay for anything. You will have it in your inbox within 15 minutes. So let's go back to the context. Also, too, I want to share with you guys in the same description or the same bio, if you want to set up a free consultation with my Index Universal Life team, tax code 7702, we teach you how we secure, compound, and grow our wealth during the craziest economic times in the world, how the wealthy retire tax-free. You can set up a free consultation with my team. Okay. It's not us DMing you. Those are scammers. Scammers will DM you and ask you about your portfolio. We will never ask you about your portfolio. That's not us. Okay. So that's not me communicating with you. Don't send money through WhatsApp, through Instagram. Anyways, so that's in the description of this video. So let's dive right into this. So will there be a black swan? Absolutely. So I'm going to share with you my perspective and how I rewired the foundation. And I'm going to talk about how everything is backwards. Now, if you're in my academy, I've talked about how everything is backwards for about 5 years now. And I've reversed everything in my life. And my life has radically changed. The key and the change that I've gone through is I look at the origin of everything that's being presented to me. So when media hits my brain or when I see things or I hear things, I dive into the origin. The question I ask myself is, where is that coming from? And what reaction do they want from me? There's only 3 things you can control: your thoughts, your daily actions, and your reactions to things. Okay. So let's break that down. Your thoughts are what you think, your actions are what you do, and your reactions are your emotional reaction to the things happening. And the beautiful thing about humanity and God's creation is every single one of us has free will on how we want to react. But let's take a moment. This is coming from my own belief system. I love all of humanity. Whatever you believe, I believe you. But I follow the life of Jesus. I love God with all my heart. Therefore, I love you as I love God. Okay. So in Jesus' teaching, I want you to think about this. Everything is inverted. He said, pull the log out of your eye before you pull the straw out of another's. So we're constantly focused on other people. Constant. He's giving you the answer. The answer is you, right? The answer is you. He says, don't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. You're of the world, you're in the world, but you're not of it. Look up. So everything is backwards. And he also said that the devil is the prince of the earth. So let's play a game. Let's pretend the devil is the prince of the earth and everything is inverted. So we come here to transmute darkness into light. So the black swans are to control what? Is it your thoughts? Is it your actions or your emotions? Well, if they can get a reaction and control your emotions, they can control your thoughts and they can force you to take action through your emotional response. So everybody's waiting for a savior. Everybody's waiting for a president to come back. We're all waiting. It's the same thing, same cycle over and over and over again, guys. You can look back in history, which is his story, and you can see the patterns. And whoever is telling their story is creating a narrative to move you wherever they want. Consciousness is not supposed to repeat itself, but we do, because the devil is the prince of the earth. We are supposed to, as my coach says, the author of Cosmos, is we're supposed to drill. We're supposed to drill through consciousness. Okay. We're supposed to create. And what are we doing as humanity? We're not creating. We go to school. Our parents told us to go to school, get a job, get a 401k, and get health insurance and be safe. It took us completely out of our creative state of mind. It took us out of our decision making and problem solving process. It literally ripped our soul out of us. And we go to school, we get a job, we get married, we get a 401k, and we just exist. And so, what you're experiencing right now is just like the Roman days, just like when Jesus came back after 18 years that the Christians, say it was the lost years of Jesus. There's many documentations on what Jesus was doing during those 18 years. He comes back and he starts flipping over the money changers. He sits in the back of the church. He goes from village to village and tells the most broken people that they're healed, that they're powerful, that they're amazing, that they're worthy, that they're abundant. And I believe probably, Jesus is the risen Christ, the risen King, right? But if he's sitting in his grave, he's rolling in his grave right now. It's like, what are you guys teaching? Are you kidding me? He rose after 3 days, and one person could see him, which was Mary Magdalene, who had a mark on her head right here. She was awakened. She could see him. One of the greatest teachers was Mary Magdalene. So we're experiencing cyclic patterns, Roman days, the days of Jesus, right? So yes, there's going to be black swans. They're by design to control your emotions. So what if you reverse, let's just play a game. Let's reverse engineer everything and let's understand origin. BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, the largest asset manager in the world. They own almost everything on the S&P, guys. They're part of the World Economic Forum, board of trustees to move the mission and purpose forward. So what we're doing is we're fighting this invisible enemy. They're not your enemy. You think they are, but they're not your enemy. That is a creation being, not a creative being. I don't like their creations, but they're creating, they're thinking, they're walking, they're controlling emotions. They created BlackRock. Understand why it's called BlackRock. You need to understand origin, family. Don't just respond to things. Understand origin. Okay. Klaus Schwab created World Economic Forum based on his thoughts, his actions, and the reactions he wanted with the world. So if that's how they did it, then why are you allowing people to control your reactions and your emotions? Because you're going to end up in a cycle over and over again. If you don't rewire the foundation, you're going to end up in the same situation. They're not doing anything to you. You're accepting it and reacting a certain way. And your emotions, based on the reaction that they're looking for, controls your thoughts and your actions. Okay. So if someone can control your emotions, they have power over you. And you need to be very, 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 very careful. In my opinion, if they point to a man or woman on earth saying that they are the risen Christ, a physical being. Okay. Because that person or entity or thing wants control over you. You have sovereignty right now. Every single one of you has sovereignty. Every single one of you has sovereignty. So let's take it into a physical context of this right now. Let's take the beautiful teachings of the Bible. Let's take all these things out and let's just talk about human behavior and what we can all relate to. Okay. So you wake up in the morning. Let me ask you a question. Is President Trump going to save you? Is he going to be sitting next to you on your bed saying, hey, go to the gym? Hey, don't watch pornography. Hey, don't eat McDonald's. Hey, don't spend money playing video games all day. No, he doesn't wake up next to you. It's you against you. It's you against you. It's the minute you wake up and the thoughts that you have. It's the actions you take during that day. And the future is not fixed or finite. It's responding to your thoughts, actions, and behaviors. The past is used for depression. The future is used for anxiety. The devil is the prince of the earth, and he is the ruler of time. So if he can keep you focused and worried about your future and the black swans and your 401k, which are going to come collapsing down as part of the cycle, you just have to reverse it, do the opposite of the 99%, invert everything, do the opposite of the 99%. You'll be fine. That's what I did. I don't fight an invisible enemy. I'm not protesting against anybody. There's no man or woman on this earth that has sovereignty over me. It's my relationship with God. It's my following of Jesus. It's the studying that I'm doing. So why am I this way? Because 5 years ago, for the third time, I had lost all my money. So I took a step back and I stopped blaming the world. I stopped looking at someone wearing a mask or the V or no V or whatever all this stuff is. And I stopped blaming everybody else for my problems. I took full sovereignty of my life, my thoughts first. I took control of my thoughts. That was my first step. Then I took control of my actions. I controlled every single action, every single step. I developed a massive amount of faith and I became present. I started using the past for good memories, and I used Ho'oponopono. If I'm saying that correctly, my apologies and no disrespect, but I used forgiveness, a powerful activity called Ho'oponopono, to release the past to open up and clean out the closet so I can bring in new memories. And then I use the future for manifestation. Some people call it prayer, some people call it manifestation, some people call it meditation. And let's call them energy centers. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it energy centers, right? Some people call it chakras, but everything they tell you is evil usually allows you to live. Flip the word backwards, invert it, okay? So I'm going to call them energy centers. You have energy centers, you have your lower energy centers, and you have your higher energy centers. So what I did was I controlled my actions and my behaviors. I started fasting, I started meditating, I started praying in the morning when I got up, I started praying at night when I went to bed. I built strong relationships and foundations and principles with my family. My business's integrity, honesty, and uncompromising belief in God. I will not do business with anybody or anything or any entity that will not allow me to believe in God and speak my truth. That's why I have no sponsors on my YouTube channel. Nothing is monetized on our YouTube channel because I want to speak the way that I want to speak. For family, it's peace, freedom, and family structure. If you disrupt my peace or my freedom or my family structure, it's a hard fucking no for me. Hard no for me. So by knowing my principles, by exercising, meditating, praying, connecting with God, I realized that the enemy was me. And the last thing that I mastered about a year ago, and I'm still working on it, was judgment. Judas, when I mastered judgment of other people and I started pulling the log out of my eye before I pulled the straw to yours, guess what was revealed? I'm a really insecure person. Holy shit. The reason why I was judging others and pointing out the flaws of others because I had a shitload of stuff to work on myself. So the last year, I've worked harder on myself than I do anything else, and my life has radically changed. So now, as I sit, I magnetize. I call it prayer, magnetism, meditation, manifestation, but it's energy, it's magnetism. So there's a reason why they had you stand 6 feet apart, guys. There's an energy field that goes out 6 feet out of everybody. So if they separated us as human beings, then they could disconnect us at a consciousness level. Because when we connect at a consciousness level, we come together and we stop fighting about the left and right, and we start pointing out our differences. We stop pointing out our differences and we come together in love. Agape is the number one used word in the Bible. And we rise up into higher consciousness, Christ consciousness. And we focus on God and we don't live for the world and we move through our heart up into God. And you get to God however you want to, whatever you believe, as long as you have a heart for God, right? It's not a religion, it's God. And I'm not saying Catholics are wrong, Jehovah's Witnesses are wrong, Church of Latter. If it gets you closer to your source and to love and to God, and you're a good person, you have principles, then you have sovereignty over your life. And if we all took sovereignty over life, we wouldn't be worried about a president coming back. There would be no war, but that's not how the world works. Remember, Jesus told us the devil is the prince of the earth. Jesus was the greatest teacher of all time. And I think what we're expressing about Jesus isn't what he was, what we're learning about Jesus. I don't think what he was trying to express. He went from village to village, guys. He wasn't a religion. He was love. He worked really, really hard on himself. He spent time in silence and solitude. He didn't blame invisible enemies. He said, do you want to be healed? Stop waiting for the fountain. Stop waiting for Trump. Stop waiting for a savior to come back. He said, pick up your mat and walk. That fountain's not going to save you. So yes, there are going to be black swans. It's by design. It's by design, family. What you have to do is understand that it's you against you. The physical things are going to happen. It's microcosm inside of yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, out to the macrocosm, what you're experiencing in your physical reality. That's why rich parents have rich kids and poor parents have poor kids. That's why the 1% has always stayed the 1% until one person draws a line in the sand, becomes more committed to the pain of change and staying the same, and rewires the brain. There's nobody stopping you from being great. There's nothing to fear other than fear itself. All the sayings that you've been taught that our parents tell us that they don't embody or live, all they did was parrot information. But now we have the interwebs, which gives us all this access to information. And so the distractions are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So if I can keep you trading time for money, the devil is the ruler of time, and I can keep you stuck in your job, both parents not taking care of your kids, and you're so tired you can't even pay attention, then I can move you any way I want. So I hope this information reaches you well. I just want to share with you, I love you with all my heart. I truly, truly do. I'm not trying to expose a belief system. I don't think, there's anything evil out there other than myself. There's dark ass people. And I believe What I've been taught is the devil is just a broken little boy or girl that needs love and needs a hug. Has gotten so far away from his heart or her heart. He's in the world, she's in the world, and she's lost her soul, her heart. But when she gets back to her heart, or he gets back to her heart and starts to look back to God, just like the prodigal son, he said, get the fatted calf. You can always come back. You can always come back. So if anything is telling you that you were not connected to source and you have to jump through hoops, I don't know. That doesn't seem to work for me. So I don't know if this is right. I don't know if it'll work for you, but I was a drug addict 17 years ago in crack houses. I committed suicide on December 18th, 2006. I took my own life, the most selfish act you could have done with a 3-year-old daughter. Why? Why would I do that? And the first thing I did before I committed suicide, I'd never prayed in my life, guys. Never prayed in my life, but I knelt down and I prayed to God. Isn't that interesting? What was I praying to? I don't know. Some source. I don't know. I said, Dear God, I didn't want it to end up this way. I don't remember the exact prayer, but I woke up 48 hours later. And so now here I am 17 years later, constantly growing, constantly learning. So now the next phase for me is to become a student of life. If you judge me, I'm going to say thank you because you're revealing to me what I need to work on in myself. If you spit doctrine at me, I'm going to go to the origin of it. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to see if you actually know what you're talking about. I'm going to seek wise counsel. Wise counsel is people who are actually living it. If you spit doctrine at me, I'm going to look at your life and see if it matches that. It's simple. I'm going to work on my family structure. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to be unconditionally loving to humanity and all humans that I come in contact with. I'm not going to judge you. I'm only going to judge myself. I'm going to love God with all my heart. I'm going to love humanity as I love God. I'm going to treat others as I want to be treated. I'm going to pull the log out of my eye before I pull the straw out of yours. That's all I got for you today. Yes, black swans are coming, but there's nothing to fear other than fear itself. It is the greatest time in human history to shift your family's wealth timeline. But if you don't rewire the foundation, you're going to end up in the same situation. Warriors, rise! Get your shit together. Let's go. Love you guys.